Hey Tim, how are you this afternoon?
Well, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed because I had this really good idea about an hour ago. I thought I'll go and do my mufti thing, and
Yeah.
that'll be really sort of sensational.
Nice shirt.
Yeah,
Nice shirt.
and then you kind of smashed me out the water with my my shock value. So yeah, you win.
Yes, I certainly do. I had a bit of a Caribbean catch up this afternoon. One of our friends, one of our real estate friends, was meant to be in the Caribbean right now, and so when we organised a Zoom catch up, she said, "There's one catch for this catch up. It needs to be a Caribbean theme." So, I just pulled a few bits out of the wardrobe. So, and I promised them I would stay in theme for my catch up with you. So there you have it, ladies.
Mm.
So lots of things going on today. We had a really good webinar this morning with Fiona Blaney. Some really good stuff came out of that. So if people weren't able to log on for whatever reason, we can send them a link out for that catch up so they don't miss out on a thing.
It was a good session, wasn't it? But interestingly, there was a lot of questions came out of it as well, which was great to get the questions coming from the audience. And I know that during the course of that, I was taking notes, and I'm trying to get clarification on a lot of that now. So
yeah, very good. And I liked the way the negotiation and the words that she was using when she's talking, when you're talking to tenants and to landlords, we have been asked to be negotiating in good faith. And we need to have evidence to support this good faith negotiation. So I think that language is really, really important. Interestingly, I saw our friends in Queensland are re-looking at their rental relief package, and the two things that they are really keen to get is the ability to ask for proof from the tenants. So in Queensland, the tenants at the moment are not having to ask for proof, but also that the rent is not waived. Any agreed deduction or lowering of the rent is to be paid later. So they're two things that we already have in New South Wales that they're hoping to get in Queensland.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was
I mean, Queensland's Queensland. So I was about to ask you a heap of questions, but I won't, because this doesn't really bother.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We can answer those later rather than confusing everybody. I had a message from one of my Lang & Simmons team members, and interestingly, he was out doing letterbox drops, and the police stopped him and said that it's not an essential service. So that was interesting to see. And what's your view on letterbox drop, people that are actually paid to do that? That's their business, Tim. Do you think they would be able to do it or not?
I'd be guessing at best. What I do know, though, is that we are pushing hard for real estate to be an essential industry, as you well know. In fact, I've got an advertisement which I'm hoping to get in both the Telegraph and the Herald, making that argument. But then you have to say to yourself, is every part of it in the whole thing, or is it just parts of it? So I don't know the answer to that. I would have thought in that particular case it's probably not. But that would be where I would fall on it. Yeah.
I've also had questions on DocuSign and the legality of using DocuSign for a buyer to execute an agreement.
Yep. So in the contract for sale of land, you can use DocuSign. You can do as you wish with that. The thing is, with the contract for sale of land, you are not getting an interest in land with the contract for sale of land. What you are doing is entering into a contract that will entitle you to get an interest in land. You are such a solicitor sometimes, honestly. Yeah, well, that's important. So just go with it. But the answer to your question is yes, you can sign a contract for sale of land. Yeah, beautiful. And for that matter, agency agreements. Agency agreements, absolutely. I've had another question about now. So we know when we're doing private inspections, we can have one agent and one buyer. The vendors have to be not in the property. But if an agent's being asked to come in and do an appraisal of the property, is it all right for the husband and wife to both be in the property with the agent? I would have thought no. You can only have two people in there. Isn't that the deal? What? So, oh, it's so. This is so annoying, isn't it? I mean, I'm over this virus, Leanne. I'm over it. What's the difference between only allowing the agent and a prospective purchaser in, as opposed to going in and having, you know, the vendors in there?
How about we ask Fair Trading that question, and we will update you all on Monday. I'll mark that down as a question, because I would have thought if you could invite people into your home. Anyway, let's not confuse it. I'll check with Fair Trading and we'll update you on that on Monday.
Thank you. I'm virused out, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I completely understand. And so to that point, I think that we all need to be really mindful of the mental health of our people. Our salespeople have got different challenges to our property managers, but everybody's dealing with really difficult conversations right now. So I don't know what the answer is to that, but I think that you and I should have a chat about that and see what we can do.
I hadn't mentioned this to you, but I had a phone call today from one of our members out in the bush, and and she wasn't in a good place. It was not good. They're just getting hammered out there. Property managers, you know, they're getting hammered with tenants not wanting to or wanting to renegotiate things, and then there's been a lot of abuse, and it's I am, I should say, very concerned about our property managers going forward over the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that end, I know a lot of you have already used the tenant video that I did, highlighting to the tenants what their obligations are at this time. I've today done the same kind of thing, but focused towards our landlords. So our landlords understand that there is an expectation that if a tenant is in hardship, there's some negotiations to be done in good faith. So if you would like access to those videos, just let us know.
Whilst I think of it, Leanne, we'll talk about negotiations. We've been the education department of the Institute. We're developing a negotiations course, a difficult negotiations course. And I would have thought if that hasn't got appeal now, it probably never will. And the other thing that we're in the stages of developing is also NCAT, some training, specific training going to NCAT in relation to a lot of this, because whilst we all have that Pollyanna view about negotiating in good faith, etc., I think we have to accept that a lot of things are going to go to NCAT. So being able to get your file in some sort of really good shape and go in there, it'll save you a lot of time. So we're going to be developing some training in that area as well.
Fantastic. That's really timely. Good to hear. Okay, now you had a message from one of our members who said that there were a whole lot of pointer boards and open for inspection signs out in the market. What's the message on that?
Well, if you want to assist in shutting us down, continue that practice.
Yeah.
You know, we are not allowed to have open for inspection. So if you've got your pointer board, your pointer signs and your boards out in front and declaring it's an open, given that your story with the police going past and grabbing somebody for letterbox dropping, if you've got a big sign out here saying I'm doing something illegal, you're not helping anybody. So
absolutely. Don't do it. Yeah, I actually did email one of our members yesterday about something very similar, and they came back very apologetic. So hopefully people will get that message. So we've got a couple of things that we're still working on for everybody. The landlord insurance question is still on foot. So we're all using all of the contacts that we possibly can to try and get some clarification on that. And also the forms and the new regulations and so forth with the forms. That should all be updated early next week, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. As soon as we properly digest the regulation that's come through, and then do a little bit of market testing to find out exactly what it has to do, and also obviously get some answers from Fair Trading, then the resi space I think will be largely locked down and we can move forward with some processes. And as
Yeah.
you know, we're also putting some base documents together, which will assist people in collecting the data and the rest of it.
Yeah.
The other thing, obviously, we're waiting on in the commercial area is the regulation that's coming out of there. So I don't know where that is at this stage. That's coming out of the Office of Small Business Commissioner, so it's not fair trading.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that yet. So our friends in the commercial environment still in limbo to some extent.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously we'll be chasing that up. And now I want to know what theme you want for next Friday.
Yeah, that's a great question. Why don't I get back to you on that?
Is there anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
No, I mean, next week we're going to have some media pushes on. I know you've got a couple of things on your agenda, and as do I. Yep. I'm struggling to grapple with why the tenants' union is so well funded to represent tenants, and yet landlords get nothing. So I'm going to express that view this week or next. And similarly, the banks who are taking a lot of accolades for all the things they're doing, I think we need to call that out, and I plan to do that next week as well, because the only people that are actually giving money away, saying that's it, I'm never going to see that again, are the people in the equation who are least capable of doing it financially, which is the landlord. The government's not doing a heck of a lot, and the banks are doing nothing, and yet, the poor landlord is getting shafted.
Go, Tim. All right, you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you actually get a break this weekend, and I'll look forward to catching up with you Monday.
All right, thanks, Leanne.
All right,
thanks,
see you later. Bye.